Okay, hello everybody. So we are live. Fantastic to see so many of you tuning in and joining in already. I'll give it just a few moments for some more of you to arrive. A huge thank you to everyone that is tuning in, and nice to see you all saying hello in the chat box as well. Okay, so welcome to this very special end of year AMA hosted here on Binance X Spaces. Great to see you all here. I'll be your host for today, Jessica Walker. I heard someone do the applause sound effect there, which is the first time I've heard it. Great to thank you for sending it over. Thrilled to have you all here with us as we take a little bit of a look back at 2024, the year that has been, and also discuss what is going to be next in the world of Binance, crypto, and beyond. Now, before we start and dive into the conversation, I'm going to set the stage for the format that we have today and what you can all expect. So, over the next hour, we are joined very graciously by our very own CEO of Binance, Richard Teng, who is going to be sharing his insights, also reflecting on some of the key moments of the year and answering some of your questions. We're going to start with one question from me, and then we will open the floor to you all listening and get you to answer and ask any questions that you have for Richard. So we'll open the floor to the audience and make sure that you can ask anything that you have been curious about. If you do have a question for Richard, please request to speak and I will invite you in to be a speaker and then call on your user handle to ask the question directly to Richard. Unfortunately, Rachel is not able to make the call today, so we're sending her a very big get well soon message on behalf of the Binance team and also the community. So a big thank you to everyone that is joining. It is great to see so many of you on the stream already. And also a huge thank you, Richard, for taking time out of a very busy day to speak with us all today. So first off, let's kick things off. Richard, thank you for joining us. We have got a lot to cover, but before we dive into some of the questions from our amazing community, let's take a moment to reflect on the year. So, Richard, I'd like to ask, as the CEO of Binance, I'm sure this role has offered a really interesting vantage point on all the happenings of the industry and also the pace in which things are moving. 2024 has been fascinating. So it's great to hear from some of the insights of Binance's very own community and the Binanceans that are listening on the stream. So, Richard, to ask you as our first question of the AMA, we're now nearing the end of 2024. How would you characterize 2024 and everything that has brought the industry? And then also, where do you expect it to lead with the markets in 2025?
Oh, Jessica, thank you so much. Once again, I want to thank all the people that are tuning in, all our users, our communities, our friends, our supporters. We are only here because of you. So please continue to support us. 2024 has been a year of game changing, right? So I think recently somebody asked me, is a good year for you guys? I said, it's a good year for everybody that's involved in crypto, right? So I think that statement is true. If you are involved in crypto, if you are vested in crypto before 2024, you would have seen very impressive growth in the whole sector. So we started from an industry perspective, industry-wide. We started the year with the approval of Bitcoin ETF, then Ethereum ETF. And I think that really changes the narrative for this sector. Right? It went from something that regulators don't recognize, institutions doesn't quite partake in, to one that's given the due recognition that it needs, right? And it deserves for all these years. So I think that's the first thing that happens. So once the ETF was approved, firstly in the US and then subsequently in many different other places around the world, in different jurisdictions, that gave it greater credibility. With that, the institutions came in, right? So BlackRock went from a skeptic to a believer, and then subsequently many of the other financial institutions jumped onto the bandwagon, right? Fidelity, Stripe, PayPal, MasterCard. You have a whole host of financial institutions that's starting to look at this space seriously, starting to offer products, starting to get exposure, do allocation, and that narrative continue to grow. And then you see new innovation being taken place, the use of stablecoin in payment space, in cross-border remittance continue to take off. And I think towards the end of the year, you have a pro-crypto president in the United States that's been elected. That has changed the narrative greatly in the US, right? So for the past 4 years, those that are involved will know that there's Operation Choke Point, right, which stifle the innovation, stifle the growth of many of the things happening in US. And also the global narrative, because US has such an outsized influence over, global regulations, global policy making, that has, make it quite negative in the past 4 years. But with a pro-crypto president being elected in the US, and he has put in place many people that would drive the agenda at the different levels. Right? So the next 4 years, I described it, the next 4 years, I think we're going to see the golden era of crypto. Right? So a lot of new things are going to happen. So that's at the industry level. At the Binance level, we saw huge growth this year. So if you look at our user base, it's close to 250 million now. That means more than 70 million people have onboarded throughout the course of this year. We have put out several blog posts on this run. The net inflows that we have seen was more than 24 billion. And if you put that into perspective, the next 10 largest exchange put together is smaller than our net inflow, right? So our net inflow is 40% higher than the next 10 exchange put together. And this demonstrates the trust that users have in us, right? Which give us a lot more push and commitment to continue driving the agenda, the mission of freedom of money, continue to focus on what our users want, which is always the top priority for us, being a user-first, user-focused organization, while we continue to invest in other areas like compliance, security. We also have announced partnerships globally, including recently with Circle, right, to continue to support the innovation on stablecoin front, and we look forward to many of those developments going forward.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Richard. And absolutely agree. 2024 has just been a monumental year, and it doesn't feel like 12 months. I think we always make the running joke in crypto that time moves differently. It feels like it's been a little bit longer, to say the least, but what an exciting time. So a huge thank you to everyone that is joining and listening in already. I can see you all reacting to some of Richard's fantastic comments there. We are going to start to open up the floor to some of you that do have some questions for Richard, so you can ask them personally yourself. So I will be inviting some of you to speak. So we'll start with, let me add this gentleman as a speaker. So we have the crypto preacher rumor rule. You are on the stage. Can you hear us okay? Fantastic, great. Okay, so if you have a question for Richard, please feel free to take the opportunity and ask away. Thank you.
Thank you, Richie. It's Rume. Nice to hear you speak. I'd like to know your plans for the crypto space as regards the African continent, considering the fact that a lot of interest has come from that way. And also, I understand your challenges as a CEO of the biggest exchange platform, and also the challenges with regulation in that part of the world. How are you planning to navigate through? Thank you very much. My name is Rume. I'm a leading African cryptocurrency expert here.
All right. Thanks for that. It's a good question. You know that Africa is one of the fastest growing region in terms of both demographics as well as crypto adoption. So we want to be in every place to support our users in their crypto journey in terms of their investments, their hedging, management, etc. And doing things like payments, working with partners globally, right? So that is at a global level. For Africa itself, you're right, we do face challenges. I think people know of challenges in Nigeria, which we are working with the government in a collaborative manner to overcome. But our aim for Africa continent is very simple, which is what we do globally, right? We want to engage very deeply with the policymakers as well as regulators over there. I think some of them are still very skeptic. Some might be having an anti-crypto position. But with US changing its position drastically, I do foresee a huge change in global sentiment, including those that are slightly anti-crypto now, right? So I think that narrative is going to change. So we're going to work very hard with the policymakers, regulators, to highlight to them the opportunities in this space and how we as the largest crypto ecosystem can help them facilitate the growth of that sector, that can bring in new talent pool, bring in more foreign direct investments, that will boost the economic growth. If you look at what's happening in the States, uh, President Trump has just appointed AI and blockchain and crypto czar, right? Because he realized that AI and crypto are the two main technological areas that will support the growth of any industry going forward. So be it real estate, be it supply chain, entertainment, social media, financial services. These two fundamental technology will be the one that will drive a lot of changes, support the industry growth, support industry efficiency, effectiveness going forward. So if you look at that's an extremely wise strategy. And globally, other governments should take notice of that to say these are two sectors that we cannot afford to miss out. So we want to make sure that the governments around the world understand the huge opportunities in the crypto space and come up with regulatory framework to support that. And we will be very keen to work with governments around the world. We'll be very keen to do local deployment wherever possible and offer our products locally to our users, right? So that from a general level is what we are doing, right? Of course, then the devil is in the details, is how you do it locally, especially when there are some very anti-crypto regulators or policymakers, right? So it's really education, working with them to understand this sector better, and that might take some time, right? So the time frame I can't say for sure, but this is a work that we continue to do, and hopefully we can continue to deploy in the Africa region to support our users there in terms of their needs.
Fantastic. Thank you, Richard. And that was a great question. Let me invite our next speaker onto the stage. So we have Zalman and Zalman CK. Hi, Zalman. Thank you for joining the stream. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Zalman. Can you hear us? Hi. You're on the stream with Richard. Do you have a question for him?
Yes, hello, Richard.
Hi.
Basically, I was just wanted to ask, what do you think about memes generally? Because it seems like it's something that captures most of the eyes, and basically many users join the Solana ecosystem because of memes. What is your take about memes generally?
Sure. I'm. This is interesting subject matter, right? So let me say a few things, right? So meme coins may not be for everyone. Not everyone may agree with the narrative on that front. They may not captivate everybody's attention or resonate with many. But they do resonate with many in the crypto sector today, right? Which is why it's important to understand them better. The current memes that we see are unlikely to be the end game for crypto or blockchain as a technology. But they do represent some innovative and dynamic nature of the ecosystem, right? It could also be that memes represent something very similar to the irrelevant anti-Wall Street movement, if you remember, the anti-establishment movement, right? That we have seen trading in the recent past. So most memes do not have substantial real-world applications now, right? So that's why people have very divided view about memes. However, we are industry player, we are agnostic about some of this innovation. It's quite important to recognize their broader value. So at the industry level, memes really reflect the young internet-savvy demographics within the crypto industry. They provide insights into what the community is engaging with and are interested with. So it helps us to understand the market dynamics and sentiment better. And they offer a fun, easy way for newcomers to learn about complex, unfamiliar crypto concepts like fiat grams, exchanges, wallets, seed phrases, etc., etc. So I hope that answer your question. I don't think this is the end game for them, but you see, many memes in the past, including Dodge, have continued building, and I think the future for Dodge will be quite different, right, from how they started. Some of the memes will take that route as well. So as for listings of memes, I just want to stress that we do have quite strict due diligence process to decide which are the tokens or project to be listed on our platform. There's an independent team within Binance that does the research and evaluation. And our focus is always to provide our users with access to a wide range of quality projects on that front. Right? So I hope that gives you some insights into how we look at it and how we think about it. But we will say that it does not, may not be for everyone. Not everyone may resonate with it, but many do, right? So that's our position on memes.
Fantastic. Thank you, Richard. And a huge thank you to the speaker for the question there. I was wondering how long we'd get into a 2024 yearly recap stream without someone asking about memes. So, with that being said, let me add our next speaker onto the chat. So, we now have Pip joining us with the handle getpipcom. Pip, can you hear us okay? Fantastic. Thank you for joining the stream. And I will now hand the floor over to you to ask a question to Richard.
Hi, Richard. Hope you are having a great day.
Hi, I'm good. I hope you are doing well.
Yeah, thanks. It's really nice to hear you always mention about the payments. But most of the payments providers comes from Web 2, so they are mostly based on Web 2 and they are rebranding their projects. So my question is, Binance will continue to support crypto-based payment projects in the future? Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a great question, right? So if you look at the space, payment space, it is currently dominated by a few key global players, and then you have some important regional players, right? But because they have in the Web 2 space for so long, payment for the longest time have been dominated by Web 2 TradFi players, right? So that dominance is pretty big. So, but in terms of payments, we will continue to support, the different payment models, working with both Web3 players, Web2 players. Our objective, if you look at what we do, has always been looking at how we can support our users better. And payment is an important area that is hugely beneficial for our users, right? So I visited many countries in the past. I mentioned that. And in many countries around the world, where financial inclusion is extremely low, like 10, 20% of financial inclusion, which means 80% of the people have no access to banking products or payment products. Why is that the case? Banks are making it very expensive. They charge very high fees. They don't want to maintain accounts with low balances, right? Because to them, those are expensive to maintain. They want to only maintain bank balances with high amount, right? Because it's profitable to them. And that has a huge impact in many developing countries around the world, right? Crypto is the answer to that. Why does crypto exist? Why does crypto continue to gain traction so quickly? Before this year, you have many regulators not supporting crypto, right? You have financial institutions against crypto, partly because crypto solved that problem that financial institutions are not currently solving, right? And they view crypto as a competitor. If you can solve all these problems, will you overtake us in future? I think it's a mindset. So I think that's a huge challenge. But crypto exists to solve all these problems. I mean, if you do payment in a crypto space, whether it's local payments or cross-border payments, you'll know that it is instantaneous. The recipient get the money instantaneously. They receive it. Very little fees are charged compared to what the TradFi players are charging, right? And the important thing is everybody can have access to it, unlike the traditional banking or payment system, where it is very costly and there's very high threshold to join. So I think it's a game changer. So we want to continue to support that. We want to make sure that globally, people that needs all these tools for payments that improve their life much more can access to that. And the other point I wanted to make is, if you look at the past few years with hyperinflation situation, many of the local fiat currency are depreciating, right? So a lot of people I come across, they are so much better off holding on to crypto stable coins. They preserve their family wealth, they preserve the well-being of the family, and many of them come thank us, right? When I travel the world, when I meet them at events, our social meetups, Binance Blockchain Week, for instance. I get many people coming out to say, thank you, Binance has really made a huge difference in their life because of the ability to access crypto for different things, for savings, for payments, for transfer, remittance, etc., etc. That make a huge difference in their life. And we are here to support people to make sure that we support the freedom of money globally on that front. But I just want to thank all of you for continuing to push the agenda on this front, especially when the institutions and the regulators don't believe it. You have been supporting it, you have been believers, and now I think we are changing the world's opinion on that front.
Fantastic. Thank you, Richard. Okay, so time for another question. And the questions that have come through so far have been fantastic. So a huge thank you to everyone that has submitted them. We are now bringing onto the stream VJ Web3. So VJ, thank you for joining us today. I want to check first of all, can you hear us okay? Hi, VJ, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. GM, Richard, how you doing?
GM,
What's
how are
up?
you?
I'm doing absolutely great. First of all, 2024, it was an epic. You, Binance, the entire team has done an amazing job worldwide. So, would love to appreciate what you guys have been doing. Now, coming to my most important question, do you have any plans? Like you have established offices all around the world. Do you have any plan to establish offices in India? Number one, or maybe a centralized office for all the Asian countries, or maybe covering the South Asian countries or Asian countries? This is my question number one. And number two, do we have any plans to expand the Binance Angel part, like how you guys are hiring Binance Angels? So, do you have any plans to hire Binance Angel on a regular basis, or maybe it's like a short term plan for hiring Binance Angels?
Yeah. So thanks for that. Those are good questions, right? So for those, I presume you come from India. That's why you're asking India and Indian subcontinent. So that is a very important region for us, right? So India, South Asia. I mean, India is the largest, most populous country in the world now. Extremely young demographics, extremely IT savvy, right? Extremely bright, and have been embracing crypto, right? So if you look at the different type of crypto adoption index, India will rank up there, either the top or amongst the top three. Right? So India is a very important market for us. We are registered with the Financial Intelligence Unit in India, right? And we are serving our users in India on that front. We will continue to explore. We are in close communications with the regulators there. So we will continue to explore which is the best way for us to continue our deployment in India and what does it mean, right? In terms of, does it involve setting up local offices, engaging local personnel, etc., etc., etc. So I think once we have plans on that, we definitely let the market know. And the community is so passionate that if we do something like that, you definitely know about it very quickly, right? So, but again, for not only India but different parts of South Asia, Pakistan is an extremely important market, fast growing, and the rest of the list in South Asia, right? So, we are looking forward to engaging all users. We are looking forward to engaging the policymakers, how to make sure that we continue to be relevant and we continue to support users in all these different important areas, right? So some of them may require local deployment, and we're very happy to do so. We're very happy to set up offices and engage local talent to really help our local deployment in all these different areas. So I hope that answer your first question. Binance Angels. Binance Angel is a very important program for us, right? So if you look at it, these are really passionate people about crypto that act as a pseudo ambassador for Binance, right? So they're extremely passionate about Binance. They are very aligned with how we see the future of the world, how crypto is making a huge difference in terms of the journey towards financial freedom. So that as important ambassadors for us, I think. Uh, we will continue to look at that program and see how best to enhance it to make it much more meaningful, right, for everybody that's involved in that program. But unfortunately, Rachel is not here. Rachel probably have more insights into what she intends to do. But at a broad level, that's actually an important program for us. And we are very grateful to all Binance Angels that really spend a lot of time, their energy. They are very passionate about what they do. And we are very grateful for everything they have done for us.
Thank you so much for answering my question, because I've heard rumors like Binance is not hiring Binance Angels now, so that's why I clarified. I got a clarification from you, and thank you so much for answering my question. And the last question, like India is a hub for young talents and tech savvy people. So are we planning to organize, like in 2025, right? Do we have any plans to organize hackathons or some education type of thing for young minds, young talents here in India or southern part of Asia and Asia Pacific as well?
Sure. So if you know Binance, Binance is a global company. So we have 6,000 employees with us now, and we hire global talent, right? So we don't restrict ourselves to any countries, any region. We want to attract the best talent out there, the most passionate, most committed people that believe in crypto, to work together with us to really support the crypto industry, support the crypto ecosystem and growth going forward. And we are very fortunate to have many passionate people, including from India and different parts of South Asia, working with us. So we draw talent globally, and many of these talent, like you say, exist in South Asia, right? Of course, there are many talents existing elsewhere. So we want to attract the best internationally, and we draw talent everywhere, right? And we're still in the hiring mode. So you know that we hired more than 1,600 people this year. Given the bullishness of the market, given that we are going to deploy in more marketplace, we'll need more talent. So we'll continue to draw talent wherever they are available. And that's include places like India and different parts of South Asia. We will look at, there are things that we organize locally with our community, things like meetups, etc., etc. And those are things that we continue to do. Things like hackathon are things that we probably will do, but possibly with partners as well, right? So we're going to explore what else can we do there. Our local team that's looking at the India market will know much better whether we are going to partner with anybody else in India. But I do know that we are engaging with universities to really work with them to include things like blockchain, crypto into the curriculum, which are very important for the future talent, and that's where we draw some of our talent from, right? And whether some of these universities are organizing events, I'm not quite sure, but I think we'll get more information throughout the course of next year.
Fantastic. Thank you, BJ. There were some great questions there. And a huge thank you to all the angels that we can see on the live stream that are joining us now as well. Okay, so Richard, time for our next question. I've invited to the stream Nuralov. So I'd like to confirm, Nuralov, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Fantastic. Okay, so the floor is yours. Please ask away any questions that you do have for Richard.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak over here. First thing first, I wanted to like to all the speakers and listeners. I hope 2024 went really well for you guys. And coming to the future now, as we are all aware that crypto is reaching all-time new heights, like whether it's Bitcoin or whether any other altcoin. So like Bitcoin recently hit 100K, right? So I want to ask Richard, that what do you think about the upcoming plans of crypto, and also as AI is also is making its all-time high, like it's the coming future, right? So what do you think about AI and crypto for the future?
Sure. So I don't know whether you guys recall. I think some people do. Earlier in the year, I think around January and February, I get asked questions on crypto. What's the price of crypto that will end in 2024? Right. At that point in time, I say, look, I believe crypto will exceed 80,000 by the end of the year. I think many people, especially in the Web2 space, thinks that, at that point in time, crypto was 30 plus 40,000. To go to more than 80,000 is more than double, right? Which is going to make crypto the best performing asset class within all the different asset class, right? But I think that has come to pass. Now crypto is trading, today I think it reached all-time high of 108,000, right? So many people that do not understand this space will not believe that. But for those people that have been involved long enough in this sector, you know that traditionally, crypto has moved through a 4-year cycle, right? That coincides with the Bitcoin halving. So the price tends to move up about 160 days after Bitcoin halving. And Bitcoin halving happens in April this year, right? So after that, Bitcoin prices would tend to move up, right? How high, how fast? Again, they're subject to things like market forces, sentiment, etc. But I think one of the game changers in November was the election of a pro-crypto president in the US. I think that changes the narrative hugely. If you look at what has happened in the US in the past 4 years with Operation Choke Point, a lot of crypto players have been badly impacted. Even the crypto banks like Silvergate and others were impacted and have to close down, right? So that is a very different environment. And that narrative then permeates throughout the rest of the world, creating anti-crypto sentiment in many different jurisdictions. Now the sentiment has shifted as we go into 2025. As I mentioned, President Trump is going to appoint AI and crypto czar, which is extremely important. He understands that these are the two most important sector and innovation for the world going forward. Right? So that represents the foresight. So there's going to be a lot more investments. US also mentioned that it's going to have a US strategic Bitcoin reserve or considering. And many of the states are already starting to look at that, right? To have their own crypto strategic reserve. And I believe that FOMO will be happening throughout the rest of the countries, right? So once countries see that US have Bitcoin in its reserve, they'll be starting to look at, hey, there's something that we're missing out, right? People will know that MicroStrategy has been included in Nasdaq 100 index. Again, all these important developments are very useful to change the narrative. And I believe that it's not only at the country level, but going forward, the sovereign wealth funds are going to look at it, the foundations, the families office are going to increase allocation. We are seeing on our platform a record number of institutions and corporates being onboarded, and they have increased their allocation into crypto. So going to 2025, I think I said at the beginning of 2024 that 2024 is going to be a good year for crypto, but I always believe that 2025 is going to be a better year. The reason is, at that point in time, I didn't know President Trump would be elected at the beginning of 2024. But my rationale is this, right? So with inflation under control, all the central banks around the world will start to lower the interest rate. And that is going to be a huge boost to riskier assets such as crypto, right? So going to 2025, we have a much more benign microeconomic environment. You have more regulators regulating this space. You have more institutions coming into this space. Things like Bitcoin options are being approved for trading, and they bring in new liquidity. They bring in new users. new trading firms will get involved in this space. So I do believe 2025 is going to be a much better year. But don't ask me about price prediction, right? I don't want to put my head out there. When I make the price prediction earlier in the year, many people tell me, you shouldn't have said that. What if it doesn't come true, right? So, but I remain a bull. I'm very vested in crypto, so I'm still very bullish on crypto.
Fantastic. Thank you, Richard. And we have some questions that are coming through in the chat comment box as well. So if you're not able to ask a question to Richard verbally, do type them because we are keeping an eye. We have a great question that's come through from @BreakJStream. And this question is, with Bitcoin reaching new highs and crypto gaining more traction, what would be your best advice to new Binance users for the upcoming year?
New Binance users, is it?
Yes, correct. New Binance users for this year. We've seen 2024 is so exciting, but for new users, what advice would you give them for the upcoming year, 2025?
So, for any asset class, there's going to be a risk-reward profile. So I posted on X recently that I get a lot more questions. So it is one of those things that happen, right? So beginning of the year, when I meet up with friends, end of last year, when I meet up with friends, I said, hey guys, if you don't have crypto exposure, I think it's high time to get into crypto, because I do believe that the pricing then was very, very low and you can't go wrong, right? And my friends around me, people my age, older, they are skeptics, right? So very Web2, very traditional finance, they are skeptics. And they say that, look, no, it's too risky. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't want to be in it, right? Uh, End of the year, I meet the same group of people, I meet other people. The first thing they ask me, which crypto to buy? How should I buy it, right? Which platform to use? Of course, it's a no-brainer. For me, it's of course Binance. It has the best platform. But they will ask me, how high will the price goes to? Again, those are things I can't answer. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have foresight to predict what's going to happen. I'm bullish for the reasons I mentioned just now. Interest rate environment is going to be much more benign. Institutions are coming in. Regulators are understanding it much better, giving it greater credibility. And all those are big positive. But if you're new to crypto, the first and most important thing is take time to understand it. Do not FOMO. Do not jump in blindly. Do a lot of research. Talk to people that are very knowledgeable and savvy about this space before you make any investments. And if you do make investments, make sure that they accord with your own risk profile, right, and risk return. Because there are, as with any investment, there are going to be risks. There are going to be investment cycles. It's a cyclical sector, right? So prices will not go up all the time. You'll come down as well, right? So these are all the things that new investors have to be aware of and are willing to take the risk on prior to investing. Start small if you want to, and then as you get more familiar, then you can increase your exposure.
Fantastic. Thank you, Richard. And I hope that your non crypto friends are thankful that they have the CEO of Binance as a friend to ask for advice on what exchange to use and how to move forward with their crypto journey, especially in 2024. Okay, so time for our next speaker. And I'd like to invite to the stage, we have Kenneth, TCG. Kenneth, welcome to the stream. Can you hear us okay?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Hi, thank you so much for bringing up on the stage. Anyway, I just have a simple question. I heard Richard Tang mention about the institutions earlier. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I have a question regarding that, Richard. Actually, my question is, how do I say it? So regarding the institution, I mean, we will see more partnerships with the governments or institutions. Is that what you're trying to meant to say earlier?
Well, I'm trying to say a few things, right? So Binance has always been a user-first platform. So the first and foremost thing that we'll do anywhere we are is to continue to build the platform to serve our users to the best of our ability, putting users at the forefront of every decision we make. And that includes, having the best security, pushing out product features that our users want, and supporting our users in their crypto journey, right? But given the direction of travel, is more and more regulators are coming into this space, and other regulators are considering regulation in this space. It is quite important for us to also engage the policymakers and regulators quite closely to really shape the future direction of regulatory framework for crypto. Many of the crypto framework that we see are slightly one-dimensional. They just look at the risk aspect of it, and that itself does not make the regulations a good regulations. You must also consider the innovative aspect of it. How do you foster growth? How do you foster innovation? The risk part can be handled and can be handled through some of the provisions, right? So those are things that we can look at. We will continue to look at, and global partnership is something that we will continue to work very closely on, right? So if you think about it, crypto is only 6 to 7% global adoption. If you benchmark it to what happened during internet age, once it crossed the 7% threshold, the next 10% of adoption will come very quickly because it started to have critical mass, right? So a lot more people are going to understand it. A lot more community are going to explain to their families, their friends what this is about. There's going to be greater awareness, understanding. So the growth is going to come very strongly. And as one of the largest ecosystem player within crypto, it is important for us to really work with other players, good actors, to really support the growth of crypto, to support global community, to support global ecosystem. Because the more that we can work together to help crypto, to help the growth of this important sector, everyone is better off and will be better off. Our community, our users will be much better off. So that's what we intend to do.
Thank you so much. I think that answers everything. Actually, when you're talking, I always find myself that when things start talking or Richard start talking, I gotta listen to it. I'm always speechless.
I, I hope speechless in a good sense and not because you're
Yeah,
frightened
yeah,
about what I
actually.
say.
Yeah, actually. And one last thing, Richard. This is regarding about the exciting new features or the things coming um in 2025 from Binance. What innovations or new features can Binance users can or expect in 2025 that could set Binance apart from other crypto platforms?
So,
Things like that.
so we continue to work very, very hard on the product features front, right? As a platform, we always encourage our users, our community, to give us feedback. Areas that we have done well, areas that we have not done well enough, and areas that we need to look into to continue to improve ourselves. And crypto sector move very fast. It's a 24/7 sector. It moves very fast. There's a lot of innovation happening in this space. So we need to be nimble to really support our users in terms of their needs, right? So for those that have been following us very closely will know that we just launched Binance Alpha. Binance Alpha is a platform within the Binance wallet that serves the pre-listing token selection pool, spotlights on the early stage project that may be considered for future listing on the Binance exchange. Although I must stress that this things is not guaranteed on that front, right? So it is something that we wanted to do to enhance transparency in the token consideration process for Binance exchange listing. And the tokens featured on Binance Alpha are carefully selected using our expertise and insights into the industry. We focus on projects that have strong community interest, that have growing traction, that's aligning with the key trend shaping in the crypto industry. It is a platform that offers user valuable insights into promising projects, right? So help them to understand and deepen their understanding to the Web3 landscape and potential that will shape the future industry. Right? So tokens will be showcased in batches of 24-hour period during which users can explore the project details, purchase the tokens using the quick buy feature, and after the spotlight period, the feature tokens will still remain the alpha section of the market stack, allowing users to continue to track and purchase them, right? So this latest, of course, throughout the course of this year, 2024, we have we have introduced so many things, right? Continuous enhancement to Web3 wallet, super earn products, Binance Square, etc., right? Mega pool drop, etc. So we continue to push forth with all these new product feature. We are working on a lot more going to 2025. We will need to test them though. We need to make sure that they are ready before we roll out. But rest assured, as and when all these new product features or new products are being launched, we will then notify the market. We want to work very closely with our users and community to increase awareness of all these new products so that our users can take advantage of them.
Great. Thank you, Richard. And thank you to Kenneth for the question. Okay, time for our next question. I'd like to invite to the stage, we have Vijay Gear, who is joining us. Vijay, can you hear us okay?
Hi, good evening from India. Thank you for the opportunity to talk here. Okay, I would go straight to my questions. I actually have two questions. One is related to Binance and one related to some crypto. So I would go first with Binance because it has been a huge part of my crypto journey, right? So there used to be a lot of things that a project need to fulfill before they could get listed on Binance earlier, right? However, recently we are seeing a lot of new meme coins getting the chance to use Binance Marketplace. Like, what has changed?
Well, so first of all, let me stress that our listing criteria and standards have not changed, right? So we are very, very stringent in terms of our selection of new projects to be listed. I do know that memes divide the community one way or another. Some are extremely passionate about that. Others are very, very skeptical. But it represents, as I mentioned earlier, it represents a different way of engaging. There are many communities that are extremely passionate about it, but we have not changed our criteria. So we have a comprehensive due diligence process on that front, which include what we apply to some of these projects that are listed. Right. So we look at things like project quality, the team behind them, the innovation and roadmap, the market demand and community engagement, which I think a lot of memes are doing extremely well in that case. Security and compliance, and the list goes on, right? And rest assured that we do exercise those rules in a very stringent fashion. But some of these are also innovation, and being a Gnostic platform, we must realize that there are huge community support coming through some of this, and we also want to support our users and community in their user journey, right? So, which is why we have listed some of these memes in terms of Binance.
Okay, great. Thank you. And my second question is related to Ethereum. Though I think I should ask this question from Vitalik. However,
I
you
think you
have
should direct that to Vitalik.
But as you are the CEO of the biggest exchange of global exchange, right? So you might also be able to give a great response on this, and I think the community also would like to know this thing. I was doing research today, and I found that I'm not sure if everybody is aware of this thing or not, but around 104 wallets in Ethereum, they are the biggest whales there, right? They
Yeah.
dominate the Ethereum ecosystem. Would you like to say something on this? Because I feel like personally, is this going towards a centralized kind of thing, or what do you think about this
So
thing?
I'm not the most equipped person to talk about Ethereum. You know who to direct that to. But let me give you some data on, let's say, the spot Ethereum ETF, right? So when the Ethereum ETF was initially introduced, there was quite lukewarm response, right? But as we see, it gains momentum with more positive flows following the US election. So net inflow now exceeds $2.2 billion. And daily trading volume on the spot ETF is around 300 over million US dollars, right? Total AUM for Ethereum ETN stands at more than 13 billion US dollars. And they're going to introduce new products such as options, staking yields. They're going to improve access to the spot ETF via different trading platforms and wealth advisors, and a much more favorable regulatory framework should continue to drive growth in the crypto sector, including for all these different ETF. And Ethereum, plays an important part within the crypto ecosystem, as all of you know. But on specifics, how what's going to be the developmental roadmap of the Ethereum, etc. I think those are questions that you should direct to Vitalik.
Great. Thank you, Richard. Okay, we have time for probably two more questions. So I'm going to bring to the stage now, we have Vishal Kothari. So Vishal, thank you for joining us today. Can you hear us okay, first of all? And then please go ahead and ask your question to Richard.
Hi, Richard. GM by one
GM,
more
GM.
one more person from India. Sorry, other country peoples, but yeah, I'm really concerned about a thing, especially Binance P2P, and there is another suggestion after your revert. My concern is right now so many scams are going on. I'm sure like if any Indian listeners or Indian Binance users are facing the same problems, so scams are being happen right now on P2P section. Yeah, we know that you have given the risk warning and everything, but somehow it should be like there should be something which can be handled on the spot payment instead of on the payment, release payment after 24 hours or something. That kind of scenario can be happen.
So GM, there are cases of some of these scams happening on the P2P space, right? So we work our best to weed out all these negative players, and we have safeguards to make sure that doesn't happen. We are looking at ways to continue to enhance the P2P product to make sure that it's safe for everyone. The enhancement are being done now to make sure that we weed out all the suspect players on that front. And of course, in India, we also look forward to see whether we can work with some of the more traditional financial institutions to support our users there. And hopefully, all these different mechanisms and avenue can continue to support and help our users in India.
Thank you. And another suggestion is that my 13-year-old boy wants to create his own Binance account, but due to KYC reasons, he wouldn't be able to. So, if anything like custodian of father or any parent, kids can open their Binance account. That would be great help. That is my suggestion from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. From a legal and compliance perspective, unfortunately, we can't serve underage children, right? There are always legal requirements on what's the legal age in countries, and you have to be above the legal age to be served on the Binance platform, right? So unfortunately, we have to comply with all the global rules and regulations and local rules and regulations on that front. So I hope you understand that.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so we have time for one or two more questions. Let me add to the stage. We have Mars2477. So, Mars, thank you for joining on this stream today. Do you have a question for Richard? Mars, can you hear us okay? Okay, maybe not. We also have some questions that have been written in. So, Richard, I will give you one of the written questions. So, we have Mutasim2002, and he's asked, how do you see regulatory developments from 2024 impacting the industry in 2025 and beyond?
Well, regulatory development is an interesting thing, right? It changes according to how global politics change and policy change, right? So 2024, we have seen a lot of new regulatory framework being formulated and rolled out. And there are actually a lot of responses to say that some of this framework may not make sense to the crypto industry. There are different ways that they need to fine tune it to make it better and much more relevant, to really continue to support innovation. And given that the positive wins are now behind crypto, I think those conversations are happening at a much more serious level with policymakers to help them understand that certain changes needs to take place. I think all our interests are aligned, right? As a global platform, we want to make sure our users are protected, their funds are secure, their assets are secure. We serve them in the best of our ability. By trading on the deepest liquidity pool globally, uh, our consumers are protected because the bid-ask spread is small, and for anybody that's trade, you know that the narrowest bid-ask spread will always result in substantial cost savings for users. You can execute your trade much faster. There's much deeper liquidity pool. You save a lot of trading fees over time, right? And those are substantial. So from a consumer protection angle, the regulators are aligned, but how they approach it might be slightly different. So it's a lot of education. So going to 2025, I do believe that those conversations will continue to happen, but I do believe that you're going to see a stronger and more friendly set of regulators coming into the scene globally that regulates crypto, and that's a big positive for crypto, right? Including in the US. But if you look at other elections around the world, uh, a lot of constituents are demanding to know the position of their politicians on crypto, right? Whether they are pro or against, right? So that demonstrates the importance of crypto to many communities, many constituents around the world. And that will have a big impact on the regulators that appoint to really look at how crypto should be supported in those countries as well. So I'm very positive that 2025 you're going to see fine tuning of crypto framework, more jurisdiction introducing framework to support and regulate crypto. So those are big positive.
Fantastic. Thank you, Richard. And I think we have time for one more question. So I really appreciate you taking some time out. We will hand the stage over to Aaron's Gothen. So Aaron's, can you hear us okay? Thank you for joining. Aaron's, can you hear us okay? Okay, let me see who else we can bring onto the stage. We have Alpha Logic HQ. So Alpha Logic, thank you for joining. To wrap off the stream today, what is your question for Richard?
Good morning, everybody. Well, I was looking at some of the most recent updates and posts and stuff coming out, and seeing that you guys are going to have some Binance Alpha, which made me pretty excited. I do like the biggest thing I have, or not necessarily concerned, is that a lot of U.S. users are not able to use the Binance systems. Is there going to be anything done for the U.S. based users to be able to use the different options you guys have?
Well, so thanks for that. Currently, we don't serve the US, right? And at this point in time, we have no intention of serving the US. We are focusing our attention on all global users. And we have managed to do very successful global deployment this year. You see the increase in number of users that we have, close to 70 million new users on our platform, close to 250 million users. So, we continue to push the global agenda, push the global deployment, and we want to support our users at a global basis. The question of whether and how, when are we looking to serve US users, I think that's premature at this point in time. We are not really focusing on that subject matter at this juncture.
Alrighty. Well, I guess that answers that question. And then my last question would be, when Barsic?
Sorry, come again?
I said my last question was going to be, when Barsic listing?
We're not going to discuss any listing things here. I think, as you know, we consider all the listings quite carefully. It is a very sensitive subject matter. We don't discuss listings given the sensitivity of all these information. Jessica, shall we wrap up?
Yes, thank you. So a huge thank you to everyone that has joined the call and asked the questions. And Richard, a huge thank you to anyone for you taking the time today. Do you have any final words to summarize the year and everyone joining on the stream?
So 2024 has been a great year for everyone involved in crypto. Congratulations for being believers. I want to take this opportunity to wish everyone good health, good luck, success in the year ahead in 2025. Happy trading and happy building, right? So we need much more innovation, we need much more utility in this space. So we look forward to more innovative projects. We look forward to you, our users, continue to support us, let us know how we can serve you better. But I do hope and I do wish that 2025 is a much better year for everyone on both the financial front, but on the health and family front. So thank you for joining us today.
Great. Well, Richard, thank you so much for taking the time, and a huge thank you to all of the people that asked such excellent questions and who listened in on the stream. And that's all for today. We'll summarize, but we'll see you all very soon. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.